Hey, Ironic, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, feel free to chime in as well as is format that you have experience with and that you enjoy. Oh, you can't stay for all of it. Yeah, no worries. I don't know how long this thing's gonna take, but I do know that okay. So you'll be the classic YouTube commenter then, the old stopped watching when. I think the first time I got like a couple of those, I was doing a Popper Cube draft and I passed Wild Mongrel, and the YouTube commenters were just not having it. They were like, "You passed Wild Mongrel, idiot!" Like, hello. So that was, but I had like an insane win rate, and I trophied that draft. Like, I don't know. I think it's just really funny to say that kind of thing. But it looks like we're all set, so we're gonna be diving in here. I don't feel like I really know what I'm doing with this one, so hopefully we'll get some easy picks. Well, this pack doesn't look very good. Uh, so our rare is a land, so that does not matter at all. Um, Pretty much, I think the only card that I would think Jeskai Metalcraft, thanks. And yeah, I appreciate that. We're gonna start here, I think, with Perilous Mirror. Um, I have no idea if Ogre Gear Grabber is playable, but Perilous Mirror, it's a nice 2-drop. It's colorless, goes into any deck. In my experience, it's not often a 2-for-1, but it threatens to be a 2-for-1 pretty often, which means your opponents have to be careful about the kind of attacks they make into it. You can just trade it for an X3 or something. Um, Otherwise, like Fume Spitter, I think is a nice card. Contagious Nim is okay. Carrion Call, perhaps. But a pretty weak pack. I think a pretty clear Perilous Mirror to start. Followed by Carrion Call. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about how Infect is going to fare in the 6-person pods. That's one thing I want to take note of. Basically, there are 2 Infect cards in this pack, Carrion Call and Contagious Nim. Sure, there's a Tainted Strike, but let's just try to pay attention to the wheels. Wow, I get past the Scrap Melter just like that. This pack is juiced. What the hell? So we have Grand Architect. So 1 blue for a 1/3. It's going to pump other blue creatures I control. Tap an untapped blue creature, add 2 mana, and you can turn artifact creatures blue. Then there's Mirrorsmith, which is also very good. Glimmerpoint Stag, which I think is strong. Silver Mirror, which is good. Horizon Spellbomb. Blister Grubs. This pack is like calling this pack juiced, I don't even think does it justice. Like, this pack is just insane. Um, Thrumming Bird is probably quite good. I'm not sure exactly how good it is. I think Thrumming Bird is probably better with +1/+1 counters in a set than -1/-1 counters, but obviously good with both. And then more obviously, perhaps, it's like a pseudo infect creature if you get a poison counter onto your opponent. I think I have to take the Scrap Melter. I don't think they're, yeah, even though there are a bunch of strong cards in the pack, I think it just has to be Scrap Melter. It's very good, and it's splashable, and it would be super painful to pass. Whew. And the hits just keep on coming. So now it's Bellowing Tangleworm, Perilous Mirror, Leaden Mirror. There's also Revoke Existence, which I think is good. So definitely a good pack. I know some people here would just take the Leaden Mirror. I don't think that's going to be me. I have the option of taking a Bellowing Tangleworm, which I do think is really good, but it's double green, and it really does put me into green pretty hard. Or I can take Perilous Mirror. I don't think it's correct to take the Tangleworm, even though I do think it's very good, which is quite awkward. We have 3 packs now. I have a minute to make this pick. I don't think it's ever Revoke Existence. Love Necrotal. Good to see Arameth. Um, yeah, so I could just take Perilous Mirror, right? And then I could have 2 Perilous Mirror and Scrap Melter as my start and have like a pretty sick... Yeah, I'm thinking Perilous Mirror, but I know that other people really like the Mana Mirror, and I do think Bellowing Tangleworm is really good. Um, but I think it's okay to pass the Tangleworm. Just set myself up to be nice and open, take a colorless card. Yeah. Tangleworm is very good, I think. I hope I don't regret this. I'm not sure whether I will. Okay. Well, so far I'm feeling alright. This pack is pretty darn bad compared to the previous ones. So now we're looking at Bladed Pinions, Tumble Magnet, Kemba's Skyguard. I wish I had asked about Tumble Magnet. I have no idea how good Tumble Magnet is. Needed to talk to Cooper about that one. That would have been smart. It's quite good. Played it a fair amount. Okay. Would you be taking it over Pinions here, I guess? Not as good as Rusted Relic. Okay, so you would be taking Rusted Relic here then. Interesting. It seems like that's... like it would be hard for me to potentially get enough artifacts for Rusted Relic. I don't have enough experience playing with it. Like, it's either Magnet being pretty okay. Like, Rusted Relic is either 4 mana Darksteel Relic, or it's like actually really good. Yeah, you guys are both interested in their Relic. I don't think I want a Flesh Allergy. I already have 2 artifacts. I think I can speculate on this thing. I have 4 packs. Nobody else is taking their time like I am at this point, I guess. Passing the Pinions and the Skyguard. Yeah, I guess the Relic, 4 mana, 5/5. It's always on. Okay. A little bit bold, but I'll take it. Now I'm looking at Sylvok Replica. Viridian Rebel, kind of interesting. Barbed Battle Gear, a little bit funny with the Perilous Mirror, but not particularly good, I don't think. I think it's a pretty easy Sylvok Replica at this point. The idea being that it can blow up a really prevalent card type, can do a block sack trick, and it's an artifact for the Rusted Relic. It's not really colorless, even though it looks like it is. Passing Scrapdiver Serpent, which I do think is good. And really not a whole lot else. I guess Battle Gear is fine. Battle Gear is a sick card with like Hover Mirror, which I don't think is in this set. Let's take the Replica, I think. Seems correct to me. And now there's this pack. I don't like anything in this pack. We could take Galma's Warden if the plan is to be a Metalcraft deck. It seems reasonable to try to take that and do that. I don't think Faravor is particularly good. Blister Grub is okay. Tel'Gilad Defiance, okay. I don't think the Shield is very good, so I guess it just is the Warden. Highest ceiling card for us. I don't think Psychic Miasma is very exciting. Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to play a Metalcraft deck if possible. Okay, original pack comes back around. Notably, neither of the infect creatures are in the pack. I'm looking at like Soliton as just 5 mana 3/4 playable artifact guy. Can potentially do some untap shenanigans. We could take the Ogre Gear Grabber. I don't know how good the Gear Grabber is. It's going to be harder to pick up a Gear Grabber than it would be to pick up a Soliton, I think. Molder Beast is reasonable. Do I want the Gear Grabber or the Soliton? Soliton sucks, okay. I guess I can take the Gear Grabber. I don't know. I don't think I'm playing red at this point. I think red is probably a splash. Blackcleave Cliffs would be interesting for me if it were a different fast land to try to help me splash that Scrap Melter. still think I'm going to take Soliton, even if it sucks. Okay, wow. And a good blue card and a good white card both wheel from this pack. So, once again, there's Grand Architect and Glimmerpoint Stag. So the only thing that the Stag does, other than classic removing blocker, giving something pseudo vigilance, is the sick combo with the Scrap Melter, which I think is good but unlikely to be amazing for us. I think Grand Architect makes sense. I have double Perilous Mirror, Sylvok Replica, even Soliton. Yeah, I think it's Grand Architect here, and then just try to play blue. Yeah, slightly over Stag. Yeah, I'm really not sure, but I think it seems correct given how we've started. Okay. I think this is interesting. So I could take Blade Tribe Berserkers, but there's also Stoic Rebuttal. Yeah, it is a good signal for blue, that's true. So this guy's a Hill Giant that potentially comes with 6 damage to the face for the opponent, which is kind of insane if you think about that. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be the correct pick, even though Stoic Rebuttal does strike me as a good card. Like not a great card per se. And the double blue might be a little bit awkward. But I think since we do have the Scrap Melter, it seems like enough of an incentive to try to play red. I think it's Berserkers over Stoic Rebuttal. Okay, and then there's this pack. I don't think any of these cards really matter. I guess I take Vault Skyward purely for signaling. Sure. And then Turn Aside, I think, is actually a reasonable card out of the board. I don't think Soul Parry matters, and Assault Strobe is, well, a sorcery. Take a Tel'Jilad Defiance. We do have Sylvok Replica, so potentially interested in going into green. We're really not playing black here. And I say that, but we do pick up a Black Cleave Cliffs here. Going to be more interesting than a White Sun's Passage. And Effulgent Distraction, not the literal worst. So a pretty medium start here to pack 1. Good number of colorless cards, and we're really not committed to anything, but we don't have a lot of direction at this point. Okay. Am I taking a gold mirror now? There's also Surtark, which is interesting. I wish this thing made artifacts. Help me achieve Metalcraft, maybe. We can just take the gold mirror. It's a 2-mana artifact. I could splash Arrest. I don't want to splash Galma's Warden, but there's a world where I could do that. Do I have the artifact count for the Surtark? Not so much. So I think I probably should take a mirror. Helps the Glint Hawk if that wheels. Probably shouldn't wheel, but still. There's also Trigon of Infestation, I guess, is like the main other consideration. Yeah, it's not a good pack for sure. I do think Gold Mirror's at least like fine, yeah. Trigon, I do have 1 half green card in the replica. But yeah, I think it's just the Gold Mirror here. Sure. Oh wow, Argentum Armor. Cooper is telling me this is a good card, and I'm inclined to believe him. It's definitely slow. But if we can just suit up like a Perilous Mirror or whatever, like, obviously it's going to take a while to get there. Yeah. By grab that, I hope you don't mean gear grab that, because if somebody has the gear grabber against my Argentum Armor, I'm going to be very sad. Okay. Yeah, I think it's got to be Argentum armor. Passing Sylvok replica Horizon Spellbomb. The card with the picture of the guy grabbing a disc. Oh yes, of course. Yes, let's play some Ultimate Frisbee with Withstand Death. Perfect. Yeah. Right. I wasn't thinking about the Grand Architect. That's a really good point, Nick. That um, fuels it very nicely. I feel like I'm going to have to read Grand Architect another million times before I really understand what it does. Same with Unctus. So it pumps blue stuff, turns my artifact creatures blue. Grasp of Darkness now. Wow. And another Perilous Mirror and a Lux Cannon and a Trigon of Thought. Very interesting. So we're 0% to be able to put Grasp of Darkness into the main deck at this point. We have 0 black cards. Trigon of Thought. Slow but good, I think. Perilous Mirror, well, we already like that. We have some of those. Lux Cannon is 4 turns to destroy a permanent. So I don't think that's going to be the right pick. So I think I'm looking at Trigon versus Perilous Mirror. You can try to do charge counter stuff with Cannon, but I don't think we're really there. I think Cannon can be great, but you really need the synergies to make it happen, and I don't think we're set up for that. For those. Plated Sea Strider could maybe be a nice wheel. Oh, it was a tad slow even with Proliferate. Interesting. Trying to figure out whether I want Perilous Mirror number 3 versus Trigon. Trigon doesn't really do anything right away, but it is good eventually. Guess I should take it. I'm really not sure about this one. Could just be that Perilous Mirror is just better and this thing's just too slow. Copperline Gorge. That might be really good for us. Now there's a Tumble Magnet though, and a Trigon of Rage, and Cooper likes that card a lot. We could take Copperline Gorge, and we could try to splash Scrap Melter or the Sylvok replica activation. Though the land wheeled last time. Otherwise, basically Tumble Magnet and Trigon of Rage. Well, I just don't know if we're playing red yet. Like we could end up being base blue-white. My white cards suck. I think Galma's Warden's fine. Fulgent Distraction is not really a card, but I think, I don't know, I feel like white was more open before than red. I think I will take the Magnet. Yeah, and here's an example of what I mean by white being open with now a Glimmerpoint Stag. Acid Web Spider is kind of a messed up card. Tower of Calamities I think is just too slow. 8 mana to kill the first thing. Sunspear Shikari we have no equipments for. So I guess we're taking Stag. There's Nurok and Visimancer, which I do think is good. I might be overrating the Stag here. It's very possible that it's actually just worse than I think it is. Yeah, real chance I am supposed to take the Invisimancer out of this pack. But I think I want to take the Stag. This is an Arrest format. Yeah, Arrest is in this. And I guess the Stag does beat Arrest pretty badly. Yeah, just looking at Tower and Invisimancer. I think it's just Stag. And there's this pack, which has nothing. Guess I could take like a Flameborn Hellion. I don't hate that card. I played it before. Seems like it could be playable again. Even though we have a mana mirror, I think this is probably an 18 land deck at the moment. Really glad we have the Perilous Mirror, by the way, both of them, because my curve is so high at the moment, too. Yeah, the other cards are pretty darn bad. We already have a turn aside. Salvage Scout, potentially not the literal worst, but let's just take the Hellion. Okay. Decent pack coming back around. So we could just take Trigon now. Just slowly dump out the 1/1s. This isn't really a green card, I don't think, because just making the 3 1/1s I think is probably good enough, even though it's slow. Glinthawk, I don't love. Just has this real potential to be uncastable, which I dislike. I think Leonin Arbiter actually could be totally solid for a deck like this. Slowly dumping archetype, I don't really know what that means, but if you mean taking the Trigons, then sure, I guess. I just don't think I have enough. We only have a few. Glinthawk over Trigon. Yeah, that could be. The green one's quite poor. Yeah, I think you're probably, I don't know, I was so uncertain about that, and I was just thinking about resetting my Tumble Magnet and stuff. A lot of our cards slowly dump. That's fair. Well, I guess we're Glinthawking over the Trigon. I think that makes sense. I think we're probably supposed to be in white. We get a Skyguard, which is nice. Starting to get a little bit of real direction here. Passing a Bladed Pinions, which is not necessary. And we'll see what happens with blue versus red. Yeah. We need less slow dumping. Yeah, that's true. Well, we can maybe gain some more life with the Skyguard and the Stag or whatever. Maybe I already said that, I don't know. Okay. Now this is a good one for us, I think. Plated Sea Strider. It's awkward because we might end, like if we end up base blue-white and we have 2 double blue cards and 2 double white cards and we like splash red or something, then our mana is going to be a mess. But 2 mana 1/4 blocker I actually think is pretty nice. I don't think we need Bladed Pinions that badly. Those are Glinthawk Idol, sure, yeah, that's a good card. Yeah, let's take the Sea Strider though. Scrap Diver Serpent. Good card, but a slow one. We could take Kuldotha Rebirth. We do have double Perilous Mirror, so that's kind of sick. We did pass the 3rd Perilous Mirror, which is where I think that card would actually be good. But I think the possibility of it being good is still enough of a reason to take it. We could maybe end up with a 2nd one and like another Perilous Mirror in pack 3 if we're lucky. I don't think Scrap Diver is really what this deck is looking for. Cavalier at least does something. Like a very aggressive card. Could make somebody's deck a lot more interesting. Don't think I care about the land or the reach guy. Oh, Charging Badger? Sure. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's not spectacular, but... Okay. Somebody wants to play the 4 mana Fog, I guess they can. Bleak Coven's actually playable. And Exsanguinate, which I think can matter sometimes. Wow. This sucks. So we didn't wheel the red-green land. Now we have what's one of the best uncommons in the set in Skin Render. And I'm considering... I'm trying to figure out whether or not I need to just take this. Could just hate draft it. Yeah. I don't think I can worm my way into black from this spot. And I'm passing Arrest and Glinthawk Idol and the Seachrome Coast, which would be sick for me. There are so many good wheels for me from this pack. The question is it better to take like an Arrest or a Glinthawk Idol, get like a good on-color card for me, and potentially wheel something good from this pack, than it is to like give a skin render to the other team? I think giving a skin render to the other team is like a way we could very easily lose. But it's weird because I'm not positive whether they're in black over there. Yeah, I don't know whether that player's in black. Because, yeah, they did pass the Bleak Coven Vampire. Arrest Glinthawk is really good for me, that's true. Oh my goodness. I kind of want to take... Is it insane to take Glinthawk here? Yeah, this is a really tough one. Okay, let's think about this. I think this deck wants Arrest more than it wants... I think Arrest is more important for this deck than Glinthawk Idol. I don't think this deck is fast enough. My deck is looking sketchy. Yeah. Alright. This is a huge gamble. Well, I don't know if it's wasting a pick per se, but yeah. Okay, now we just get a Glinthawk Idol anyway, I guess. But now we're passing a Necrogen Scudder, which is also very good. This game is not easy. Mere Propagator, kind of interesting. Yeah, we're just doubling down on it in a way that I hate. It looks like we might be Boros based on the texture of this so far. That lets me play the Scrap Melter, which is nice. I do think it's probably Glinthawk Idol. It's another slow dumper. Yeah, that's true. Don't think we ever wheel turn to Slag. Sure. Not feeling very good about this. Okay. Razor Verge Thicket. I do think these lands are pretty sick pickups for me. Oh, wait, there's another scrap? What the Okay. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I was like, they wouldn't do that, right? Thank you, yeah. Well, I guess we're taking another Scrap Melter. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, even second pick Skin Render felt like I was committing a crime, so third pick Scrap is, well, it's ridiculous. So I guess we have to be red now. Sorry, Grand Architect. So we're basically missing another... Still Infection is so good. Lead and Mirror doesn't really do anything for us. I think we need Kemba Skyguard. And we're just Boros now. Drop the double blue cards, improve the mana. Soliton potentially still makes the deck, though I don't want it to. Probably not looking at Kuldotha Rebirth at the moment. I'm sad we didn't wheel the Copperline Gorge, by the way. Another Bellowing Tangleworm. I bet Xenohedron is in green. What are they playing, though? Green what? Okay. So, I do think Darksteel Sentinel can be good. Problem is, Infect is a thing in this set. Bladed Pinions, we've seen a million of those. Thrumming Bird, I don't think... Wait, does that matter for us? It upticks my Magnet. Trigon doesn't really matter, and we're probably not playing blue. It does do some slow dumping, that's true. It might be a sideboard card. It might not make sense to main deck necessarily. Question is there a better main deckable option for us? I think the answer is no. I could, like, pretty happy with the red-white deck. I hope it's as good as you seem to think it is. I'm not saying it's bad, but I just feel like, I don't know. My deck yesterday was just cracked, so now I'm spoiled, I think. Alright, goodbye opinions. And now there's just a Garbo pack here. It's maybe just a wall of Tanglecord for us. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. I don't think so, right? Like, Izuri is... Yeah, Scrap Melters are sick. I mean, my deck yesterday also had double Scrap Melter, so... I think I just take Wall of Tanglecord. Izuri is, like, terrifying looking, but in this set I don't think it's broken. It's nice to have a cheap blocker. Sure. Okay, now a Seachrome Coast. But anything playable for us? What does Seachrome Coast do? It, like, makes Soliton able to untap? Yeah, that's true. Makes sense. Man, I wish my Blackcleave Cliffs could have let me play Skin Render, huh? Imagine single-pipped Skin Render. What would that look like? Anyway. I think I'm just taking... I mean, Golem Foundry's gotta be way too slow. I don't really know what Seachrome Coast does, though. We could take Contagious Nim and just make the Infect Drafters stay worse, which is actually quite reasonable. Probably more reasonable than taking the blue-white land, which doesn't really benefit me at all. Because the only other thing it does is, like, uptick our card draw thing, and we don't even care about that because it's double blue to do. And it's 1,000,000 mana. Sure. Hate draft a Contagious Nim. Alright. Furnace Celebration, I don't think we can really sacrifice anything in this deck. None of this stuff sacrifices anything. Except for an off-color one that we can't use. I do like the First Strike Golem. Seize the Initiative I think would also be fine. But this is like a nice upgrade to Soliton if nothing else. Sure. Interesting. So now we have 3 mana 1/5, which is a very reasonable blocker. But I think the pick is actually Razorverge Thicket. The problem is Bellowing Tangleworm Wheeling is terrifying. I don't really understand how that happened. But we have Wall of Tanglecord, which is decent, but much more importantly, we have Sylvok Replica. The only problem is, do I main deck a Sylvok Replica with like 1 green source? The answer is probably no, but we can maybe play like 1 forest. And if nothing else, it's like a reasonable sideboard plan. And like the literal floor is 3 mana 1/3 blocker, which although it sounds terrible, like I think the upside makes it more exciting than the Wayfarer. So then it's just a question of the Tangleworm hate draft. I'm just gonna take the land. Okay, I think this is a Darksteel Mirror for the sideboard. Same matchups where Darksteel Sentinel is good. Should be good for Darksteel Mirror. So I'm now glad we hate drafted that Contagious Nim. Because I do think Infect is shaping up to be one of our worst matchups. Probably is just our worst matchup. For multiple reasons even. But let's take the Darksteel Mirror. I think in hindsight this deck would have been better with a 3rd Perilous Mirror than with whatever you call it. Than with the Trigon. Yeah. Tell Gilad Defiance. Yeah. This doesn't do anything. I guess this maybe can. I'm not really sure how often Salvage Scout is going to matter. Maybe this could maybe matter for me out of the sideboard. I'm not going to take a Tell Gilad Defiance. Somebody else can have that. Okay, and we'll take this thing, which I think is actually pretty decent. The predecessor to whatever that serpent is called, Gear Seeker Serpent. That card was actually good though. And we get the blue-white land back. But I don't think it's doing anything for me, so let's just take a Piker. Yeah, air math with the card names. And Golden Urn, sure. Okay, and a land. So that's the draft, folks. Number one pick I would do differently if I could would be take the second Glimmer Point Stag over the Grand Architect, but this is our deck. I don't think it's too shabby. We might have to main deck the Darksteel Sentinel. Let's take out this junk. We're like barely red, which is interesting. But I don't think that really lets me do anything crazy. Glinthawk is not 1 mana. So our cheapest spells are, or creatures at least, are Gold Mirror, Perilous Mirror. Glinthawk Idol is sort of a creature. We have double Skyguard here. Glinthawk probably starts costing around 3 mana. Glimmer Point, the first Galmas. Might be reasonable to play a Wall of Tanglecord. I'm not sure. It probably is better than Darksteel Mirror. We'll play the Replica. Play Rusted Relic. This. Obviously double Scrap Melter. I think Blade Tribe Berserkers can pretty safely get in there. It's possible that I want Flameborn Hellion, but I don't think I want it in the main deck, or at least not at this point necessarily. Let's get a Rest over there. Get the Wall of Tanglecord. Maybe a Tumble Magnet. Trigon. Argentum Armor. That brings me up to 20 cards, so we're almost there. I think this is an 18-lander. I actually don't even think it's that close. Because of how many expensive cards I have and such. So then we're looking at potentially this or this. I guess we could look at this. Technically could look at this or that. And I guess while I'm getting so technical, I might as well throw in this. Probably not Kuldotha Rebirth though. And then Razor Verge Thicket is going to matter eventually. Could just, I don't know how many 6-drops I can run, I guess is the question. I don't hate running Soliton. Just 5 mana, 3/4 artifact guy. This is not a good deck. Oh, okay. Wait, so Susu got the Skin Render. Please tell me you got it in pack 3. All right. Well, see what they have to say. They're going to be like, you idiot.